Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, not only are they just having a phenomenal season, but they're also getting healthier and healthier. We saw Kadarius Toney return recently, but this upcoming Sunday, or actually Saturday I should say, it's going to be Mecole Hardman. He is back. He played the first 8 games for the Kansas City Chiefs, and with Mecole, with Kadarius, and with Sky Moore seeing more recent involvement, along with Juju, Kelsey, MVS, there's a ton of playmakers on this offensive side, like a ton. Now, I will say, and MVS said the same thing earlier today, the most important thing for me with Kansas City is health. It's just simply being and getting and staying healthy, and Mecole coming back. Keep in mind, man, the first 8 games of the season, he had 4 touchdowns in the red zone. Once he got injured, you saw a little bit more of Jerick McKinnon. Also, CEH went down, but Jerick inside the red zone this season has 6 touchdowns in his last 6 games. So they got a little creative, right? We usually see more Jerick at the end of the season. He's an OG veteran. He can rush and he can receive. But Mecole Hardman being back, averaging 12 yards on the season, it's a big deal. And I would honestly loop Kadarius into the same kind of lane where stats don't do Hardman, stats don't do Toney justice as far as the actual impact they have on these Kansas City Chiefs games. Now, before we get any further into the video, if you guys do enjoy, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Chiefs fans, if we could get this video to 250 likes, that would absolutely make my day. But obviously, when you have Patrick Mahomes, who has now his second 5,000 passing yard season. He's got 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He also has 4 rushing touchdowns and almost 350 total rushing yards. He's on his way to win an MVP. Well, it's not just Patrick Mahomes. You also have a nice rookie, Isaiah Pacheco, but today we're talking about the receiving corps. And I really think, Chiefs fans know about Mecole. And Chiefs fans also know about Kadarius. But I think Chiefs fans and NFL fans who are familiar with Kadarius, I think they would agree with the statement that stats simply don't do this guy justice. On the season, he's dealt with a couple injuries here and there. He's only played 6 games for Kansas City. He was very clearly just out of the rotation. The New York Giants wanted nothing to do with him. They weren't even utilizing him properly in his rookie season. He played 10 games. He does have some injury history. He saw 39 catches, 420 yards, and while those are very solid stats, 10.8 yards per reception, Kadarius is very fast, and he is way more skilled than just 10 yards per reception. This season for Kansas City, he's only played 6 games, like I mentioned. He's only got 12 catches, 153 yards. He does have 2 touchdowns. He also has a couple of rushing attempts. He's averaging a little over 16 yards per game. But this is one of those sneak factors. He's one of those really sneaky players, and we finally kind of saw it come together like it did. Essentially, they got him around the deadline, right? And he played against Tennessee. It was a very short week. He was more of a decoy. He caught 2 balls, 12 yards, nothing crazy. It was, like I said, it was more of a decoy week. The week after, against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he had 5 total targets, 4 total catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 2 rushing attempts for 33 yards. Well, played the next week against Chargers, gets injured, misses about a month, kind of comes back more as a decoy against Houston and Seattle. And then this past weekend against Denver on New Year's Day, we saw Kadarius Toney back getting reps. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 71 yards. It's about 18 yards per reception. Now, I know he did have that fumble on special teams, which I know the Chiefs' special teams they've been better in the past. It's definitely a weakness as it stands right now. If they could clear that up, I'm not sure who's going to stop Kansas City, but 4 catches, 71 yards, 18 yards per reception. I know the stats, those are not bad stats whatsoever, but the thing is, when you combine that with the likes of, once again, Patrick Mahomes, the MVP, you combine that with 12 touchdown, 1,300 reception yards. Travis Kelce, by far the league's best tight end. You combine that with Juju, who has almost 1,000 yards on the season. MVS, 660 yards on the season. Jerick McKinnon, who has over 500 receiving yards on the season. And now you have a healthy Mecole Hardman. You also have Sky Moore, who's been more involved in past weeks. With Kadarius Toney, there's a reason why a lot of us, myself included, it was one of my first ever Chiefs videos once they snagged Kadarius, because I remember seeing that on my phone. I remember getting that notification and being like, what? I knew I had a feeling New York was going to trade him, right? He played like 2 games for him. He caught 2 balls. He was done with the Giants for whatever reason that was, which is still probably ridiculous. Anyways, we're getting off topic here. When they snagged Kadarius Toney, the playmaking X-Factor threat, I'm like, oh God. Kansas City got him for a bag of rice? 2 bags of rice, if that? Like, forget about it. We know this offense is very talented, and we've talked about the defense and why you should be feeling better and better as the weeks go on, disregarding statistics. But the same thing applies with a lot of these young receivers. And I'm very excited to see Kadarius Toney back in action and being properly utilized. Now with Mecole, he has about 25 catches on the year for about 300 yards. Like I said, he has those 4 touchdowns in the red zone, actually inside the 10-yard line. So just lets you get a little bit more creative, not only in the red zone, but just on offense in general. Stats are another, it just doesn't do Mecole justice. Last season was his best statistical year, 59 catches, 700 yards, 2 touchdowns, but honestly, it just doesn't do it credit. So let me know what you guys are thinking about these Kansas City Chiefs getting all these threats back. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys later.